All right, so this video is going to cover this 2008 checker interface problem. It's number 4. It says a checker is an object that examines strings and accepts those strings that meet a particular criterion. The checker interface is defined below. So it's an interface called checker. And remember, you've got a method that is just the header. It does not have the implementation of it, which means it's abstract and you have to define it in the class where you're using it. Okay, so just looking at that, know that you're going to have to probably write the accept method somewhere. Okay. It says in this question you will write 2 classes that implement the checker interface. You will then create a checker object that checks for a particular acceptance criterion. All right, so part A, it says a substring checker accepts any string that contains a particular substring. For example, the following substring checker object, broccoli checker, accepts all strings containing the substring broccoli. The following table illustrates the results of several calls to the broccoli checker accept method. So you pass in broccoli into the constructor, which is a checker interface. So we actually probably have to write this substring checker class. Let me look below. Let me keep going. Write the substring checker class that implements the checker interface. The constructor should take a single string parameter that represents. Okay. All right, so this, I don't know, find string. This string right here is going to be passed into the constructor, and then we'll have the text that we pass into it, into accept, like broccoli, and that would be true because this string is inside this string. This would be true because this string is inside this one. So we're going to have to do what? We're going to have to do some sort of index of, right, to see if this is in the string. And let me look real quick. This is called text right here. Okay, cool. So let's write this. All right, so I wrote out and put the stuff that they have for this. So what is it called? Substring tester? Substring checker. So substring checker is going to implement the checker class, right? So let's do this. So public class substring checker implements checker. Okay, we're implementing the checker. We need to have a constructor, but I'm going to throw this in real quick. And that's going to return true or false depending on if we, so then we need our public substring checker. Make sure, okay, it's a substring checker. Okay, so it's accepting a string, and I'm going to call that string That's a string we're trying to find. So private my find string. So okay. It accepts any string that contains a particular substring. For example, it implements the checker. The constructor should take a single string parameter that represents a particular substring. All right, so looks like I did that okay. I'm pretty sure that's right, what I've done. I mean, all I'm doing is accepting the subdefined string and then reassign it to my private string, my find string. Make sure you make your variables in here private because, you know, remember encapsulation and stuff, so you should only be able to access them through the public methods. This needs to be public boolean. And then we want to be able to see if my find string is in here. So we just need to use you know, if else all right, so the hardest part about this is just we've got our text that was passed in dot if our text dot index of, and then what is it, my find string, if it is what, not equal to -1. So if it's let me think here. Yeah, if it's not, so -1 means that it would exist in there, right? So broccoli is in the text broccoli, so that's true. Broccoli is in I like broccoli, but broccoli, carrots are great is false. So let me think here. So we got our text, carrots and whatever, and then we got broccoli. Are they not equal to -1? They are equal to -1 because it wouldn't find it in there, so it would return false. And then broccoli and broccoli, it does find it. So it would find it at position 0, right? So 0 is not equal to -1. That'd be true. So that looks good to me. Now look at this. We've got a checker object that is a SubstringChecker. Okay. So we've got some polymorphism going on here. So we'll see if we use, so with the polymorphism, we could potentially overwrite accept, but we're going to have to implement it in these well, let's just look. Let's see what it says. Part B. Checkers can be created to check for multiple acceptance criteria by combining other checker objects. Okay, so I think that's where you have this object B checker and then C checker, and then we're checking both with an AND checker. Okay. So, for example, an AND checker is a checker that is constructed with two objects of classes that implement the checker interface, such as SubChecker, SubstringChecker, and ANDChecker. The ANDChecker accept method returns true if and only if the string is accepted by both. All right, I can see how, like I was saying, that I can see how this is playing out with this and checker stuff right here. Right, so this is the substring except, and checkers, the accept is going to be different because it's going to have to accept two objects and return true. I think, let's keep reading because we've got beets and carrots. We're checking to see. All right, so in the code segment below, both checker, we create a both checker from the and checker, and then we create an, this is kind of confusing. In the code segment below, the both checker object accepts all strings containing both beets. Both checker accepts all strings containing both beets and carrots. The code segment also shows how the veggies object can be constructed to accept all strings containing the three substrings, beets, carrots, and artichokes. So we got B checkers, beets, C checkers, carrots. We're checking to make sure that both of them exist. The A checker accepts artichokes. Then we check to see both checker and A checker. So look at this. Both checker are beets and carrots both in here. Yes, they are. In this one, beets are in here, but carrots are not in here. In this one, you're checking to see if both are there, beets and carrots, and the artichoke are there. So that's veggies. So that would be true because you got artichokes, beets, and carrots. Write the and checker class that implements checker interface. It takes two checker parameters. There's our two checker parameters, so we need to have both. All right, so shouldn't be too bad. So first of all, we need a header. So public class and checker implements checker. All right, so then what? We're going to have a constructor. Public and checker. Oops, I spelled and wrong. And checker. All right, it's accepting checker objects, right? It's not checking. So look at this. It's accepting checker objects, both checker and a checker. So it's not accepting strings. It's accepting objects. So checker. And I don't know, checker 1, checker 2. So I'm just going to redefine these. I mean, private, my checker 1. No, I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah. Checker, my checker 1, and then private checker, my checker 2. So my checker 1 equals checker 1. And my checker 2 equals checker 2. So those are the two right there. Now we've got, again, we've got to write this. So it's gonna look kind of similar to this, but we have to overwrite it. And we're not gonna do that. So we can, we're going to have to, this will, at the implementation, remember we're doing polymorphism here, right? So when we do and checker, right here, it creates the veggies, and then veggie calls accept. The accept method isn't going to be this one up here. At the same time, let me look at this. We've got our both checker right here and a checker. So look at, this is really kind of confusing. A checker is a substring checker, both checker, and checker, okay. So wait, both checker is going to have a B and a C, which are, let me see here, are both substring checkers, okay? And so when we implement this, it's going to override the substring accept method, and it won't call this. It will call this one, but we can implement this one in here to make it call this one. All right. So we can pass. We can say. We can say what? We can say checker one dot accept, and then we accept the text. Okay. And checker two dot accept. We accept the text. And if both of them are found in there, it would return true, and if not, it would return false. All right, that's a little confusing, but it's not too bad. Again, when you implement this and call it, it would call this accept, and then inside here, this accept would call the one up here and return that, true or false there. So both of these would have to be true in order for the whole thing to be true. And if not, it'd be false. C. What does this say? Code to construct and assign to Yummy. So we're going to create a Yummy object with the information in it. A checker is a substring. Let's read what it says. I don't know. This one's kind of confusing. It's a little bit long. The code's not that hard, but I don't know. It seems kind of... So it says another implementation of the checker interface is the not checker, which contains the following: a one parameter constructor that takes a checker object. Not checker, it contains the following: a one parameter constructor that takes one checker object and accept the method that returns true if and only if checker object does not accept the string. So it says using any of the classes SubstringChecker, AndChecker, NotChecker, construct a checker that accepts a string if and only if it contains neither, if it doesn't contain neither the substring artichokes nor the substring kale. Assign the constructed checker to YummyChecker. Consider the following incomplete code. Okay, that's what I have in my notepad. The following table illustrates results. So look at this. So chocolate and truffles does not have artichokes or kale in it, so it's true. And this one has kale, so that's the YummyChecker's true or false. And artichokes and kale is false. Alright, this isn't that bad. Watch this. We'll do this. This isn't. Alright, so we've got what? YummyChecker equals a new and checker. Let me look at this again. Using the classes sub and or not, okay. If it's not checker, it contains the following. Okay. So then all we do is we need to put our new not checkers in. So we'd say new not checker, and that's our A checker. Too many of the same names here. And we'll put in our new not checker, K checker. I think that's good to go. All right, I mean, you're creating a YummyChecker from the AndChecker, and you got to pass in the NotChecker objects into it. Okay. So let's look at the canonical or class substring implements checker. So part A, there's a point. That should be an easy point. Declare private instance variables. That's an easy point. Construct the substring initialize instance variables. That's an easy point. Public Boolean accept. Determine whether. So, let's say you got this, and you did this, right? And let's say you set up your if-else statement, you return false, and then you didn't know how to do that, okay? Return correct Boolean values in all cases, attempt to find instance. So potentially out of 4 you can miss 1.5, which is kind of a lot, but again, we need to strategize a little bit. If you can't get it, make sure you write something down. Same with this one. You implement checker, you got your 2 private checker objects. You accept your checker objects and reassign them to your private checker objects, and you accept the text. So same thing, bam, there's your header, there's your declaration, there's your constructor. Did you create a Boolean, accept, and then here you go, here's your other 1.5 if you get this screwed up. Now you're up to 5 points. 5 out of 10 isn't bad so far. And then the last one is this one. This one you could mess up on, but it's only a point. So I don't know, again, I'm trying to show you guys some strategies so you don't freak out when you get these. Make sure you write down what you know, and you should be okay. So this video's done.